So I'm in a wood again. Well, actually I'm in a car, but I'm going to be in a wood. It's just raining right now, so waiting for that to die down. But I thought I'd explain what we're going to be doing today. So I'm going to finally do what I decided I wanted to do when I got these microphones to begin with, and that is to go through a merry jaunt through Cornwall, and I'm going to be reading the poetry of John Greenleaf Whittier, which is going to be very exciting. So it's autumn here in Cornwall, and it's that autumn day where it can't decide if it's chucking it down, going to be a lovely golden day, or cloudy, or all three. And at the moment, it's doing all three. I think it is just about to die down. It wasn't meant to rain at all. So I'm going to grab my wellies, and we'll go into the woods, have a nice autumnal walk around, and then we'll get into some John Greenleaf Whittier. It is going to rain, so I think the raincoat is going to have to be a must. Oh, so ready. Let's go. Into the woods we go then. Oh, it's so delightfully autumnal. Just been spending some time kicking some chestnuts. I think they must be normal. They're not conkers, so probably normal chestnuts, conker-esque. But I'm heading for a secret place in this wood, which I discovered a couple of weeks ago. And I just need to go over a river, which you can only access by crossing another river, a bigger river, hence the wellies. And that is where I'm looking to go to read you some poetry. So I thought it might be useful to maybe give a bit of background as to who John Greenleaf Whittier was for those people who maybe aren't so familiar with him. So he's an American poet, born in 1807 in Massachusetts. He didn't have much in the way of education, but he spent most of his childhood life working on the farm, and then later, despite that, just developed a really strong interest in writing poetry. As a Quaker, he opposed slavery on moral and religious grounds, and his poems and essays appeared in abolitionist newspapers, so this was around the time of the American Civil War. His famous works are Ichabod and The Hunters of Men, and they really criticised political and religious leaders who tolerated slavery. Whittier's Quaker's background also led him to reject violence, and although he was a passionate reformer, he believed that change should come through conscience and persuasion rather than force, and this really came to the fore when the American Civil War began. In his later years, though, after the Civil War, Whittier wrote poems that reflected the quiet domestic life and rural New England traditions he valued, which is actually where quite a lot of the poems that I'm going to be using come from. And in this era of his writing came probably his most famous poem, which is Snowbound, which I'm sure I can read later when there's a nice snowy Cornish day. So we've arrived. This is the river I have to ford. One might say it might be a risky endeavour to try to do with recording equipment, but, I'm just going to go for it. Got a little bit dicey towards the end there, but managed all well. So yeah, let's just find a nice chill spot to relax and get some poetry on. So I thought I would start with The Last Walk in Autumn. It's quite a long poem, so I'm definitely not going to read it all. But I think, as it is autumn, why ever not? Here it goes. The Last Walk in Autumn. O'er the bare woods, whose outstretched hands plead with the leaden heavens in vain, I see, beyond the valley lands, the sea's long level dim with rain. Around me all things, stark and dumb, seem praying for the snows to come, and for the summer bloom and greenness gone, with winter's sunset lights and dazzling morn atone. Along the river's summer walk, the withered tufts of asters nod, and tremble on its arid stalk the hoar plume of the goldenrod. And on a ground of sombre fir and azure-studded juniper, the silver birch its buds of purple shows, and scarlet berries tell where blooms the sweet wild rose. With mingled sound of horns and bells, a far-heard clang, the wild geese fly, storm-sent from Arctic moors and fells, like a great arrow through the sky. Two dusky lines converged in one, chasing the southward flying sun. while the brave snowbird and the hardy jay call to them from the pines as if to bid them stay. And I've just come across this one. I didn't know this one. I think I will also read it. We've got to remember that Whittier was American, and so therefore Thanksgiving is very important. But it is the season as well. And this poem is just simply called The Pumpkin. So it fits into European traditions as well. And I'll just read a bit. On Thanksgiving Day, when from east and from west, from north and from south, come the pilgrim and guest, when the grey-haired New Englander sees round his board the old broken links of affection restored, when the care-wearied man seeks his mother once more, and the worn matron smiles where the girl smiled before, what moistens the lip and what brightens the eye, what calls back the past like the rich pumpkin pie. Oh, fruit loved of boyhood, the old days recalling, when wood grapes were purpling and brown nuts were falling, when wild ugly faces we carved in its skin, glaring out through the dark with a candle within. When we laughed around the corn heap with hearts all in tune, a chair a bored pumpkin, a lantern the moon, telling tales of the fairy who travelled like steam in a pumpkin shell coach with 2 rats for her team. Then thanks for thy present, none sweeter or better, ere smoked from an oven or circled a platter. Fairer hands never wrought at a pastry more fine, brighter eyes never watched o'er its baking than thine. And the prayer, which my mouth is too full to express, swells my heart that thy shadow may never be less. I think the thing that I like about the Whittier poems is that although, yes, it's poetry, he talks about lots of things, there's lots of references to biblical things, to classical literature and things like that. There's a simpleness to it as well, like especially in those ones. You know, I think the rhythm and the rhyming is quite expected, and it's nothing too out there. But really get to a really nice homely heart of the matter that he's looking to describe. And he's got so many. So I think probably more walks like of this nature to come. And I'll see you somewhere else for another Quaker walking session later on. Well, I'm on my way back to the car, and thank goodness for that, because it is now absolutely chucking it down. I'm taking shelter underneath a scantily clad tree, very autumnal but not very helpful right now. Hopefully make it back not utterly drenched. Let's see. Well, that was wet indeed. Back in the car now, managed to peel off my raincoat. And just before leaving, I thought I'd just have a look to see if there are any Whittier poems about the rain. And indeed there is. There is one called The Rain Dream. And I'll just read a brief extract from it now, just before leaving. And it goes, and softly, slowly, silently, the warm rain fell from out the sky, upon dry and dusty earth, upon the weary heart of dearth. Well, I can tell you one thing, the rain was not warm, it was very cold, and neither was the ground very dusty or dry. It was very muddy, thank goodness for the wellies. Anyway, it's been, I think, quite a successful, all things said and done, however, first Quaker poetry walk, and I hope you'll join me for the next one. See you later. Thank you very much for watching the video. If you liked it, please do click on the thumbs up and the subscribe button to get more videos about Quakerism in the UK today. It really does help, and thanks once again.